Get a new Apple Card account by July 25th and get 10% back on App Store purchases for your first 6 months, up to $100 daily cash. Terms apply. You can earn on games like Candy Crush Saga and Roblox, subscriptions like Apple TV Plus, in-app purchases, and all the good stuff. Apply now in the Wallet app on iPhone. Subject to credit approval, 10% daily cash earned on up to a maximum of $1,000 in qualifying purchases is valid only for the first 180 days for new Apple Card accounts open between 7/11 and 7/25. To make a qualifying purchase, your new Apple Card must be set as the default payment method for the Apple ID associated with your Apple account in the App Store. You must have a zero balance on all digital Apple accounts associated with your Apple ID. Visit apple.co/App Store for more important offer details.
On How Rude, Tanneritos, the Full House Rewatch podcast. Join characters Stephanie Tanner and Kimmy Gibbler, also known as actresses Jodie Sweetin and Andrea Barber, as they relive every episode of your favorite Friday night comfort show.
We spent our entire childhoods on a little show called Full House, playing frenemies, but becoming besties whenever the cameras weren't rolling. And now, 35 years later, it's our biggest adventure yet.
Listen to How Rude, Tanneritos on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hello. From Wonder Media Network, I'm Jenny Kaplan, and this is Womanica. This month we're talking about adventurers, women who refuse to be confined. They push the boundaries of where a woman could go and how she could get there. Today we're talking about a woman whose work illuminated one of the most mysterious parts of our planet, the bottom of the ocean. On land, she pored over data while her male colleagues went out on expeditions, until she finally got a chance to join them and experience the watery world she'd been mapping from afar. Let's talk about Marie Tharp. Marie Tharp was born on July 30th, 1920 in Ypsilanti, Michigan. However, she didn't stay there long. Her father was a soil surveyor for the U.S. Department of Agriculture. He traveled all over the country collecting data for soil survey maps. In the winter, the family would be in southern states, and in the summer, they'd go north. All of this meant that Marie attended about 24 schools before she graduated from high school. This also meant that Marie developed an appreciation for the outdoors and a variety of landscapes from a young age. She would often join her father in his fieldwork. When she was a young kid, she would sometimes sit in the back of his truck and make mud pies. Her mom thought she was somewhat of a tomboy because of how much she liked to get her hands dirty. After high school, Marie enrolled at Ohio University. Because of some indecisiveness and the limited job opportunities available to women at the time, Marie wasn't sure what to study. She changed her major every semester. By the time she graduated, she had degrees in English and music with 4 minors. At the time, women didn't have many career options, but Marie did discover a love for geology amongst all those college courses. And timing worked in her favor. In 1941, the U.S. entered World War II, and the men were sent off to fight. Women stepped in to fill the jobs they left behind. But first, the women needed training. So the geology department of the University of Michigan began accepting more women students, and graduates were promised a job in the petroleum industry. Marie thought this was something she could do. She decided to pursue a master's degree in geology. There were still restrictions, though. In the earth sciences arena, women were dissuaded from fieldwork. It's a particularly crucial element of geology research. With that out of the cards, Marie's mentor advised her to practice her map drafting skills. What she didn't know at the time was that that would become the foundation of her life's work. After Michigan, Marie worked for an oil company in Oklahoma. But it wasn't enough of a challenge. She enrolled at the University of Tulsa and got a master's degree in math. Then, in 1948, Marie moved to New York and got a job at Columbia University's Lamont Geological Laboratory. The Lamont Lab founder, Maurice Doc Ewing, hired her to assist male graduate students, many of whom were younger and less experienced than she was. Marie initially helped anyone who needed it, and eventually, in 1952, she was assigned to work with the geologist Bruce Heezen. In that era, the Lamont Lab was top of the line for earth sciences research. The majority of the science community was content to believe that the ocean floor resembled the bottom of a bathtub, flat and featureless. But not the Lamont Lab. Doc Ewing encouraged his lab to go out and explore the ocean. Marie's male colleagues went out on expeditions on research vessels, while she was stuck inside drafting tables. Navy rules barred her from joining. And even if she could have boarded the ship, it was a pretty hostile environment for women, full of sexist and off-color comments. Marie didn't need to be out at sea to make an impact. Bruce would collect data in the field, and Marie would use that data to draft and plot ocean floor profiles. This was meticulous work, as she did everything by hand. No computers, just rolls and rolls of paper. Marie didn't mind, though. She was inspired by the vastness of the project. In an essay she later wrote, "I had a blank canvas to fill with extraordinary possibilities, a fascinating jigsaw puzzle to piece together, mapping the world's vast hidden seafloor." While turning data and numbers into lines and plots on the drafting table, Marie found herself checking and rechecking her work. Something strange was revealing itself on the map of the North Atlantic Ocean. Based on her calculations, there was a big valley in the middle of a huge ocean ridge. Marie couldn't believe her eyes. In the end, her calculations were right. A rift valley existed at the bottom of the North Atlantic Ocean. This was evidence that the seafloor was spreading apart. When Marie presented her findings to Bruce, he dismissed them as girl talk. He said it looked like continental drift, an early scientific theory that the Earth's continents were once one giant landmass and then moved over time. In the 1940s and 50s, believing in continental drift could be career-ending. The theory had been rejected by the science community ever since geologist Alfred Wegener proposed the idea in 1912. Bruce didn't acknowledge Marie's findings for what they were, a scientific revelation, until almost a year later. It took evidence of earthquakes underneath the Rift Valley to convince him. And when he finally published the work 4 years later, he took all the credit. The discovery rocked the geology community. Coming from him, it gave credence to the historically controversial theories of continental drift and plate tectonics. But not everyone got on board, even once the paper was published. French sea explorer Jacques Cousteau made it his mission to disprove Marie's discovery. He journeyed out into the Atlantic Ocean and crossed over where Marie had plotted the mid-Atlantic ridge. Jacques towed an underwater camera along the seafloor, and much to his surprise, there was the Rift Valley. Marie never received the title or pay she deserved for such a discovery. Her intellectual rigor was underappreciated, but she was never discouraged. In 1957, the Lamont Lab published Marie's map of the North Atlantic Ocean. The map depicted mountains, valleys, and trenches that proved the seafloor wasn't just a smooth surface collecting sediment. It had character and texture. Marie illuminated an aspect of our world that was relatively unknown and untouched. After all those years of being stuck at the drafting table, Marie was finally allowed to go on her first Navy vessel expedition in 1968. She and Bruce crossed over a part of the Mid-Atlantic Ridge and were able to find a fracture zone, a valley that cuts across an ocean ridge. In 1977, Marie and Bruce created the first map of the world's ocean floor, a panorama you can still see in textbooks today. Though most of her work was done in a lab, Marie's discoveries brought a fascinating, unseen world into relief, and she changed the fields of ocean geography and geology forever. Marie Tharp died on August 23, 2006. All month, we're talking about adventurers. For more information, find us on Facebook and Instagram at Womanica Podcast. Special thanks to Liz Kaplan, my favorite sister and co-creator. Talk to you tomorrow.
Unknown caller.
Hello?
Congratulations! You won an all-expense-paid vacation to the Caribbean!
No way, that's great.
Well, just collect a few personal details and you'll be on your way.
There are some things in life you can't trust.
Let's start with your social.
Yeah, right.
And there are some things you can, like the HP Smart Tank printer. With up to 2 years of ink included and outstanding print quality, you can always rely on the HP Smart Tank. From HP, America's most trusted printer brand. See hp.com/smarttank for more information.
On How Rude, Tanneritos, the Full House Rewatch podcast. Join characters Stephanie Tanner and Kimmy Gibbler, also known as actresses Jodie Sweetin and Andrea Barber, as they relive every episode of your favorite Friday night comfort show.
We spent our entire childhoods on a little show called Full House. Playing frenemies, but becoming besties whenever the cameras weren't rolling. And now, 35 years later, it's our biggest adventure yet.
Listen to How Rude, Tanneritos on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Go anywhere in a reliable Toyota SUV, complete with the tech you need for any adventure. Like a RAV4, with available panoramic view monitoring, giving you more visibility than ever before. Or check out a Highlander, available in hybrids to combine efficiency and all the space you need. Or a Venza, available with a 12.3-inch touchscreen and premium sound system. Choose your Toyota SUV today. Visit buyatoyota.com for more, and let's go places.